Hi, I'm Penny Reeve and I'm a children's and young adult author. Today I'm answering the question, what is the difference between beta readers, critiques, manuscript assessment and getting an edit on your manuscript? As children's writers, it's really important that we work on our manuscript to make it the best that it can be. Some people think that writing for children is really easy because the manuscripts are a lot shorter, so they think obviously it must be easier. But the factor that children's writers have to continually think about is, who are we writing for? Who is our audience and what do they need? And that's why it's important to get feedback along the way as you're working on your children's book, whether it's a picture book, a middle grade, non-fiction, or a young adult novel. So what is the difference between these different kinds of feedback? Well, they all have a different purpose. And so I'll just go through each one at a time and describe what are the benefits of them and what you can get out of them. And it's important before I start off to just say that if you have a publisher, a traditional publisher that comes to you and says, you have to pay me to edit your work, that's a bit of a warning sign. If you have a publisher that's asking for payment for editorial work, just be really careful. Unless you're pursuing the self-publishing route, and that's the arrangement that you have agreed to sign up to, a traditional publisher should never ask you for money to edit your work. However, sometimes it does cost money to get some of this editorial work done on your work in progress. So we'll start with a critique group. A lot of people are part of critique groups or writing groups as their writers, and this is a really informal way and a great way to get feedback on your work in progress as you're working on it. Typically, critique groups or a critique swap, if it's just you and a fellow writer of a similar genre, bring your work and you share parts of your work and then offer feedback, positive and negative. It's really important if you are critiquing other people's work or having other people critique your work that you choose a similar genre, a similar style of book. There's no use really having critique from an adult crime fiction writer and have them look at your picture book unless they also write picture books. So just pick who critiques your work carefully. It's also probably a wise idea not to get someone who is very close to you, perhaps your grandmother, who might only give you positive feedback. So a critique group is usually, look, here's what I've been working on this week. Can you read it and tell me what you think? And that's a really useful way in the early stages of drafting and rewriting to get feedback. The next sort of level up is probably when you get a manuscript assessment. And that's when you have completed your manuscript all the way to the end. You know that it's not finished, but you think it's pretty good and it's pretty on the way, and you need some feedback at that point. So a manuscript assessment can be a really useful tool at this stage. Manuscript assessments are usually paid services, and you send off your work and you receive a report back outlining the strengths and weaknesses of your manuscript. They can be particularly helpful for highlighting things like structural issues or character issues, development, and also perhaps some weaknesses in the technical areas of your writing. Perhaps you have a tendency to get your tense wrong, or like me, I do have a tendency to write in passive, and so it's really useful to have another set of eyes looking at your work and reminding you just to tweak that stuff and make it stronger. So after a manuscript assessment, you can usually focus in on your work and polish it up and make it even better. And at that point in time, you're probably ready for getting a professional edit of your manuscript, or sending your story off to some beta readers. Beta readers are readers who, they're your target readership, and they offer to read your work and give you some feedback. You know, are you hitting the spot? Are the things that you thought were funny, are they funny? Do your character lines make sense? Are your readers satisfied and wanting to read more of your work when they're finished? Beta readers, it's free. Usually I wouldn't pay someone to be a beta reader for me. And their feedback is usually informal, but it is really helpful just to let you know, you thought that happened. Well, that's not what was supposed to happen. And then you can go back and have another look at your work. A paid editorial or asking for a professional edit is that next level of work, and it can be quite pricey, but it is really worth it. You can specify what sort of professional edit you want. You might be looking for structural, storyline, that sort of level of edit, or you may be asking for the proofreading kind of edit, or both. You may decide to have, if you have a longer manuscript, you may decide to get a professional edit at 2 points in your journey or more, just to hone in and to polish up different levels of your story. In the past, I have paid for partial edits where I didn't have the funds to get my whole manuscript edited, but I was able to ask for a particular section of it to be edited, and then I used the feedback from that to apply it across the whole manuscript. So that's another option. Well, I hope you found that a helpful overview of the different kinds of feedback you can get on your manuscript and work in progress. If you did find it helpful, check out the other videos in this playlist. I've got a variety of different videos talking about how to be a children's author. And if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please pop it in the comments and I'll address it in another video. Otherwise, please like and subscribe and share around to your friends if you feel this would be a helpful video for them as well. Until next time, happy writing!